Welcome back. Another day, another logic workout, and once again, a very standard middle level difficulty classic CAT question, which is doable and also challenging enough to be a good logic workout or a good challenge to your basic processes. So, as usual, I'm assuming that before joining this discussion, you have tried out the problem by yourself, struggled with it for maximum value. So let me start, let me read the information. In the table below, the check marks indicate all languages spoken by 5 people: Paula, Quinton, Robert, Sally and Terence. For example, Paula speaks only Chinese and English. Great. I look at Paula and I see there is a tick mark under Chinese and there is a tick mark under English. So Paula speaks only Chinese and English is represented like this. She does not speak these other languages. Quinton, for example, speaks Dutch and English, and Terence, lastly, for example, speaks Chinese and French. So the data might look big in the beginning that, oh my god, there is a big table and there is a lot of missing data. But if you read it, I think this is very commonsensical level information which can be interpreted and acquired quite quickly. So what I will do upfront very quickly is convert this table and lose this table and simplify this data for myself. So these are my characters P, Q, R, S, T, and these are the two languages each of these characters are speaking as captured from the table. So Paula speaks Chinese and English, Q speaks Dutch and English, R speaks Arabic and French, S speaks Basque and English, and T speaks Chinese and French. So great. There were more pieces of information or rule data given. These 5 people form 3 teams. Okay, great. Team 1, team 2, team 3. So one of my challenges is going to figure out who goes to which team. Each team has either 2 or 3 members. Okay, information about the team size. A team is said to speak a particular language if at least one of its members speak that language. Okay, let me play with this information. Say I create a team of P and Q and call it team alpha. Now this team alpha as a team can now speak Chinese or English or Dutch or English. English was already there. So Chinese or English or Dutch. So if I create a new team called team alpha which has P and Q as its members, I can say the team can speak Chinese, Dutch or English because the rule said it is said to speak a particular language if at least one of its members speak that language. So if a member can speak that language, the team can speak that language. Great. Again, not a very challenging piece of information. Moving on to the next set of rules or conditions given along with that data. First rule said each team speaks exactly 4 languages and has the same number of members. So each team, team 1, team 2, team 3, speaks exactly 4 languages. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I've created 4 slots for each of the team. What languages will they cover? And has the same number of members. So if I figure out that team 1 has exactly 2 members, so I can conclude later that team 2 and team 3 will have 2 members as well. Or let's say if I figure out that team 3 has 3 members, so I can conclude that team 2 and team 1 also has 3 members because earlier it was given to me that a team can have 2 or 3 members. Let me look at rule number 2 now. English and Chinese are spoken by all 3 teams. Basque and French by exactly 2 teams, and the other languages. So don't use this pronoun term, replace that other languages. Look at your data. English and Chinese are taken care of, Basque and French are taken care of. So the other languages that are left are Dutch and Arabic. So look at this rule again now. English and Chinese are spoken by all 3 teams. Okay, so in all the teams, English and Chinese is definitely spoken. Right? So from this very first So from that first half of the second rule, my table or my data set can start looking like so. Next I have Basque and French by exactly 2 teams, and the other languages Arabic and Dutch by exactly 1 team. As of now, I can't do much placement because I do not know which team will speak Arabic, which team will speak Dutch, and which 2 teams will speak Basque and French, right? So I will keep that data in mind and move on to maybe easier pieces of information which can help me further clarify my picture quickly. None of the teams include both Quinton and Robert. Very standard grouping kind of a situation. Quinton and Robert cannot be together. Great. Paula and Sally are together in exactly 2 teams. Okay, so Paula and Sally are together in exactly 2 teams. So out of these 3 teams, in 2 of them, Paula and Sally are going to be together. As of now, I do not know where and how. So that's why I'm not putting too much effort, and the rule is right in front of my eyes anyway, right? Robert is in team 1 and Quinton is in team 3. Wow, this is a great clear piece of information. Anybody can deal with this, right? So Robert is in team 1, is one of the members of team 1, and Quinton is in team 3. So Quinton, I will move to team 3. And you have and you had a rule anyway about them not being together. Quinton and Robert cannot be together, and they're not together in the story. So now let me just keep making deductions. If I think of Robert, Robert speaks Arabic and French. If I think of this particular team, Chinese and English it was already speaking, but if Robert is there, this team is definitely going to speak Arabic as well as French, simply because Robert is there in the team. Now, step by step deductions, right? I was told that all the other languages are spoken by exactly 1 team. That means if Arabic is present in team 1, Arabic is not going to be present in team 2 or team 3. That also tells me that R anyway cannot be in team 3 because R and Q cannot be together. But R cannot be in team 2 either because of this Arabic being limited to a single team rule, right? So if you want to capture that, you can say that in that second team, you can definitely say you don't have R in this particular team, right? Whenever it comes in handy later. Similarly, can I think of Quinton? I'm always focusing on easy pieces of information, right? So Quinton speaks Dutch and English. So Chinese, English was already taken care of. So this team will now also speak Dutch. Now Dutch is also one of those other languages that is spoken by exactly 1 team. That means Q is also out of the team 2 configuration, because if I put Q in team 2 will speak Dutch as well, which is not allowed because Arabic and Dutch are spoken by exactly 1 team. Let me now think about Paula and Sally. Paula and Sally are together in exactly 2 teams. So they have to be together in 2 teams. Let me think about, can I put them in team 1? If I take up Sally and put her in team 1, one of the languages spoken by team 1 will also be Basque. But team 1 language slots are already taken care of. That means Sally cannot go to team 1. That means Sally has to go to either team 2 or team 3. In fact, I know that Paula and Sally are together in exactly 2 teams. So these 2, and I have 2 teams remaining. So Sally definitely is going to be present in team 2 and team 3 as well. Now let's see what languages does Sally bring to the team. Sally speaks Basque and English. English is already taken care of, so let me capture Basque in the story. The same thing for team 3 as well, Basque and English. English is already there, so Basque will be the 4th language for team 3. I also looked at how earlier Basque and French are spoken by exactly 2 teams. So I see 2 teams already taken care of for Basque, And French has the same case. French should also be present for two teams, and this is the only slot remaining, so this will also be F. I know Sally and P are together, so let me put P as well in these teams. S, Sally and Paula are together. The moment I see this, I know there are three members per team. So for team 1 and team 2 as well, I have to create three members. So let me put Paula in team 2 as well. And now I just figured out that now if I use that rule that each team has to have three members and I look at team 2, I already have two members. I'm thinking of the third member, but it can't be R, it can't be Q, that I already figured out. That means the third member for team 2 has to be T. And you can check for languages also. T will bring in Chinese and French. P will bring in Chinese and English. The overlap can happen, that is not a problem. And S will bring in Basque and English. So English is being repeated, but all the other languages are met and no rule is broken. So now let me think of team 1. In team 1, once again, I cannot have Q. I cannot have S, that I figured out earlier anyway. As I figured out earlier. And that means the remaining members have to be present in the team because there are only 5 and you want 3, 2 are out. So P and T will be the other two members for team 1. And with that, I think I have figured out everything. All the data is very, very clearly in front of me. No rules have been broken and the story has been figured out. So now let me move towards the questions. Keep a snapshot of this in front of you and then look at the questions. So our question number 1 was, who among the following 4 is not a member of team 2? So for a second I jump back to team 2. S, P and T are members of team 2. R and Q are not. So in my options I don't have R but I do have Q. So my answer should be Quentin is not a member of team 2. Next question, who among the following four people is part of exactly two teams? Go back and you can see in the story that Sally, and I remember this half from the snapshot. Go back to the story. Sally is in exactly two teams. You will say even Terence is also in exactly two teams. But the question was which among the following, right? And in the following, T or Terence was not mentioned and therefore my answer is Sally. So don't get thrown away by this little detail. Third question, who among the 5 people is a member of all teams? This I definitely just remember is Paula. Apart from Chinese and English, which languages are spoken by team 1? Quickly go back to your snapshot. Chinese and English. Beyond that, Arabic and French are spoken by team 1. So look at your answers, Arabic and French, and this should be your answer. And we are done with the problem. So I hope we realize that even if the data looks maybe big in the beginning and I might over anticipate the difficulty level, and that will obviously put a lot of barriers between me and the problem. So always start with a zero fresh beginner's mind. Always assume that it is easy till you encounter a lot of actual difficulty while solving. Don't judge it on the surface at all. Use the power of preview. So this is it for this mini micro session. I will see you very soon with the